Hello, welcome to I Am Geek, and this is episode 129. The day has come. The rise of the Skywalker has appeared in our theaters. We have all seen it once.
I almost went to see it again
Oh,
today, but it didn't work out.
didn't work out. Well, that's okay. You've seen it once. That's all that matters. So we have some special guests, though, and I'm really excited. Ray Chase is back with us. He was on the Last Jedi one, where we're back.
Yes.
He's back on this one to hopefully not bash as bad. We'll see.
We'll
see what he
see.
does. We'll see what he does. And then we're joined by our good friend Tyler Dean McDowell.
Howdy.
He's straight from Nash Vegas. Right?
Yep. Born and raised.
On the playground is where I spent most of my days.
Right.
Anybody else want to do some Will Smith?
Shooting some basketball outside the school.
When a couple of guys who
Guys
were
were no good. Started causing trouble in my neighborhood.
I got one little fight, and my mom
Mom got scared, so you move in with your auntie and uncle in Bel Air.
Anyway, sorry.
And moving along.
Chris just now walked in the door from seeing The Rise of Skywalker.
Yes.
Fresh on his-
Wow.
I saw it Thursday night at like 10:25. Thursday night. The movie didn't start though till like 30 minutes later because there's some previews, trailers, and commercials, and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
But I saw it in 3D, which it was just the ticket it was just what was open when I got tickets on a like XD screen, which is like a little smaller than an IMAX screen. Still pretty big. I didn't even notice like the 3D made any difference at all, personally. But this is so. Initial reactions. What did you guys think? Yay, nay, in the middle? Go ahead, anyone. Just jump out there. This is going to be a spoiler-heavy episode. So if you haven't seen the movie,
Yes.
stop it now. Go see the movie.
Listen no longer.
We want your listens.
Listen later.
Here's what to do. Give us your listens now. Just leave it. Put your headphones in and lay your headphones on the ground so you can't hear it, and just let it keep going.
Mm,
So we'll get the listens, and then come back and listen again later. So we'll get twice the listen.
there you go.
Wow.
Yeah,
Not
that
that
makes sense.
desperate, Ryan. Come on.
I'm just kidding. Welcome to all of our new listeners. Thank you for joining us, and all of our old listeners. We love having you back. But okay, so initial reactions: yay, nay, in the middle. Want to see it again? Don't really care.
I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. It
Balance.
was yes. It was balance. Very much balance. I mean, it felt very rushed to me. I feel like the story was sort of a mess. Part of it was entertaining. It was, kind of fun as a standalone movie, which I think it can be a standalone movie. I feel like my daughter brought this up. If you have never watched a Star Wars film before this, you could enjoy this movie because it really doesn't necessitate watching the other 8. So. Yes. Initial reaction. Next person.
Excellent.
I'm here. I was having technical difficulties on my side, so I do apologize if I went silent there for a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I kind of echo Ray, really. Not this Ray, not that Ray.
The movie.
Ray with an A.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't hate it, and when I walked out of the theater, I went to see it with my nephew. It's my oldest nephew. It's been a tradition ever since The Force Awakens, and I asked him what he thought. He loved it. He's 16. He loved it. The only issue he had with it was there was an overly excited cosplaying Rey sitting behind us, screaming to the top of her lungs. I turned around at one point, and I kid you not, she had tears streaming down her face. And I was just like, okay, well, you know what? I mean, I got to give it to her. That was his only issue with the film. But he said, what did you think? And I was like, we were walking out, and I was just like, I don't know. And then I went, no, you know what? I've got it. I have my review. And he said, what is it? And I said, if there's any problem with the rise of Skywalker, it's The Last Jedi.
Yeah,
Like,
we're going to get into that.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, as we all know, even those who like The Last Jedi, it felt like course correction. Like JJ was constantly trying to um, fix what had been done before. Some people might think it didn't need fixing, but it was plainly obvious. It felt like two directors bickering. It was like, I mean, the literal, Force ghost Luke catches the lightsaber and is like, a Jedi should treat his weapon with more respect.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, I actually looked directly at camera after that when he said it. It was just a big wink. It was weird.
Next.
Next, I'll go. I like you said, I just walked in the door from watching it, so I'm still kind of taking it all in a little bit. But just the initial reaction once it was done, I was like, okay, that was pretty good. Like it was okay. It wasn't a bad movie. It was pretty good. I wasn't super excited when it ended. It felt like almost like, yeah, this is kind of where it should have ended, I guess. This is based on everything that was happening. But yeah, like you guys were saying, it just felt like a lot of kind of course correction from the other movie. That if like it felt like some of this stuff should have happened in the last movie, and then this movie could have been better for it.
Totally.
Yeah, we actually Ray mentioned something about that and I use the Harry Potter franchise myself as an example. The ending being broken into two parts. Maybe the story that is told in The Rise of Skywalker could have had room to breathe if there were two parts.
Yeah. It could have set some things up a lot better and then let those come to fruition, kind of on their own rather than we got 15 minutes left. Go, go, go.
Right. Yeah, even like we'll talk about it later, I'm sure, but like the big reveal with like Ray's past and everything, it was just like it wasn't a moment, and like they paused like it should be a moment, but it was more like a okay, well yeah, I mean, sure,
yeah, whatever.
Next.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think basically in the same boat. I walked out. My family said, "Oh, I loved it. It was awesome." And I said, "I'm not. I don't think I'm there. I didn't hate it. I liked it. I enjoyed it. And I said this on the other video or other podcast episode we did, but I felt good about it coming out of it. But I liked it, but it wasn't my favorite. It wasn't bad, but yeah, I think it was fine. A lot of things irritated me about it, and some of it's just being nitpicky. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I liked it a lot.
Boo! Get out!
I'm not gonna lie. I liked it a lot, and I love.
I think your bar was just set way too low, man.
Well, I loved all the jabs at Last Jedi. I was laughing out loud when those things happened. But here's why I think I liked it a lot. Because I mean, if you look around my office, there's Star Wars everywhere. I've been a lifelong Star Wars fan. The Last Jedi, I don't want to say destroyed me, but destroyed the love a little bit. And so I was just sort of like, right when they first announced The Rise of Skywalker, like the first trailer, I was like, we'll wait and see. But then something magical happened. A little baby happened. Little baby Yoda happened. A show called The Mandalorian happened, and it totally reignited my like passion and love for Star Wars. That when I went into this movie, I was on a high from The Mandalorian because I had watched the latest episode the day before or the night before or whatever. And I'm on such a high right now of how good The Mandalorian is. I went into this just totally in love with Star Wars again, and it made me, I think, like this more than if that hadn't happened. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
A
So
little
that
bit.
yeah, like if the Mandalorian had come out after the Rise, like next year, I probably wouldn't have been like just gung ho about it. Like here, like I've collected Star Wars like my whole life. The Mandalorian has got me back into collecting, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Because now it's like, oh, I want that, and I want that, and I want that, and so I sat down in this movie with more of a positive outlook on what I was about to watch than I would have without the Mandalorian. Like if I
Yeah.
was going from the Last Jedi to this, I would have been like, yeah, this is gonna suck again. But I went in thinking, okay, J.J. Abrams is back in it, check. Mandalorian has been great, check. Disney has backtracked on their love for the Last Jedi, check. Let's see what's going to happen because they basically came out and said, we know Last Jedi sort of sucked. I mean, they didn't say that, but they're like, don't worry, Rise is going to be different and better for the fans. And I love all the fan service, if you want to call it that took place in the movie.
Yeah, I hate that term anyway,
Yeah.
fan service. Like, what does that even mean? Like, it's stuff that we enjoy? Like,
Yeah.
I don't, what? Why is
Yeah.
it derogatory?
Yeah, I liked it because they said, you love Star Wars? Here you go. Here's some love for Star Wars. It's not a director saying, I'm going to do my own thing. I don't really care what you want. It's like, we know you love Star Wars. Let's give you stuff that you love for this one last time around.
And that's fine. That's fine. But there's a good way of doing that. And then there's the way they did that. And I would almost argue that The Mandalorian almost made me a little more sad with the movie because it's kind of like I'm more excited for the finale of The Mandalorian next week than I was for the finale of a 42-year-old franchise.
Definitely, The Mandalorian is way better than The Rise.
And the thing is, and my argument, and I made this the last time when we talked about The Last Jedi, and my problem with this trilogy, plan it out, guys. I mean, maybe an outline, you don't have to have everything fleshed out, but I mean, kind of know where you're going. And you watch The Mandalorian, and it feels like they know where it's going over 8 hours or however long it's going to end up being. And it's like, it's 3 movies, and you're building off of all the stuff that came before. I mean, we're kind of handing you a lot of the answers here. You just have to like build off of that, and I feel like they didn't. And I said this. I mean, I really liked the Force Awakens when I first saw it, but in retrospect, I was like, man, all they did was take Empire and erase it and put First Order. They took Rebels and erased it, and they put the Resistance. And it's like they're just doing the middle trilogy again. It's the same dilemma. It's the same conflict. It's the same everything we've already seen. And I felt like the very third act of this movie was probably, I was kind of enjoying it. The third act of this movie, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've seen all this before.
Yeah.
The Emperor's tempting her. Your friends are going to die. He's doing the lightning. I'm like, this is Return of the Jedi. And then everyone's celebrating. And I'm like, really? Is it really over this
And
time?
there's Ewoks.
Because 30 years ago, I thought it was over, and I thought the Empire was gone. And now you're telling me that they're still here with a secret fleet that nobody knows about. They're doing celebrations again. I mean,
It felt very rushed.
it's like I thought the final battle took place in the unknown regions. Why were Star Destroyers exploding at Bespin and on Endor? I mean, it was just, again, that's why I feel like it was just a mess towards the end, especially towards the end, where it was just like, we have to wrap it up again, and the rebels have won again, or have they?
I get that, but
Check us out on Disney Plus, The Adventures of Finn, coming soon.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I understand that. I get that, and there was stuff that I was like, what? But overall, I liked it because, like you said, if the Last Jedi didn't exist, this movie would have been different, and they would have had more room to explore stuff because they did have to fix a lot of stuff, and they did. And I think the reason the Mandalorian is so good is because they got Dave Filoni, who is totally in love
Clone
with Star
Wars or
Wars
whatever. Yeah,
and knows so much about it. He's one of the head guys through the whole thing. Like they have different directors, but him and John Favreau through the whole thing. So of course it's going to be better than it's being like, Ryan Johnson, you're a cool director. You come do this. Abrams, you come do this one. We'll get some other guy to do the third one, and then we'll fire him. And then so it's just they should have stuck with one director, one writer through the whole thing, and it would have been a lot better. But they didn't for whatever
that kind
reason.
of falls on. I mean, it's so easy to point blame because originally my review was not if there's a problem with the Rise of Skywalker, it's the Last Jedi. It was originally if there's a problem with the Rise of Skywalker, it's Ryan Johnson, which it's not fair. Like because then you could also say, well, it's Kathleen Kennedy because she hired Ryan Johnson and she let him do what he wanted. Like it's like when does it stop? Like you could just keep going down the list. It's like really and truthfully, they should have done that. They should have had a plan.
Yeah.
But I think given what they had, they did a good job.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But there are things, of course, I'm sure we'll get into the plot and stuff more, and this is like later in obviously the final act, but it's like literally, I mean, does it undermine Anakin's whole story?
Yes.
Because the
Yeah.
whole reason he turned to the dark side was to prevent death of the ones he loved. And then just his grandson just does it. Like, just like, oh, let me hold my hand over you and just transfer my life. It's just like, okay. And then he dies. It's just like.
It's because he's a dyad, Tyler. He's a dyad.
Yeah.
And they do a good job explaining what that is.
Yeah, that was they said that word once, and then I was like, okay.
And you're supposed to go, oh, that's right.
Okay.
Well, I mean, what I said from the first that this was our initial reactions. And my initial reaction is I like it a lot. There's a lot of stuff that could have been better, but initial reaction was I walked out of the theater this time with a smile on my face, going, "That was fun. I had a good time. I think I went through every emotions. I did cry at one scene. A little tear ran down my eye.
I bet it was the same one I did.
When the Wookiee was crying.
Yep.
Oh, that was hard.
Yep.
Hard.
I'm a grown man, fellas. And I sat there in the IMAX full of people next to my nephew, and I was like, that's pretty freaking sad right there.
I actually felt sad in a different place. Like
Which
that was
place?
kind of sad, but it was with spoilers and everything. It was when Ben now when he was talking with Solo.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, that
That's
was
the
hard
that
too.
got me.
scene. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, that was.
And that was good. Good writing, nice
Yeah.
callback to the
Oh, yeah.
scene,
I laughed at that part.
Oh,
No.
They just said the same lines they said from the other movie. And
Well,
I
that was the point.
Yeah, it was
No.
like how the conversation should have went.
oh,
No,
that's stupid.
They did the callback from the other movie because
Yeah.
it was just in his memory. Han Solo wasn't
Yeah.
there. He
No,
wasn't
I
in
know.
Force
That was
Ghost.
him playing out like how he wish
I wish it had went.
would have went, and that was like, and Harrison Ford, I don't know, just did a good job
Yeah.
at that point, like doing that.
Oh.
It was just nice.
Yeah. When he
Sorry.
turned around and Ford,
No, it's fine.
when he turned around and Solo was there, I verbally went, "Oh."
Like I
was like,
I'll
"Oh."
be honest with you. I'm glad that it was him, and I enjoyed that, and I'm glad that Harrison Ford, I'm sure it was painful for him, but came back to be Han Solo one more time.
Yeah.
But I,
Cha-ching.
as a, I don't know if the listeners know, I'm an aspiring writer. That's even though I love music, writing is my passion. I'm a storyteller. Even if my songs and stuff like that, I'm a storyteller. So, and I love writing. I want to be a filmmaker eventually. So when I watch these movies, I approach them from that standpoint, that a different perspective. I always have a different perspective because I'm watching it objectively. And when Kylo was standing there and I heard, "Hey, kid," for some reason I didn't think it was Harrison Ford. I thought it was going to be Luke, and
See,
I thought, "Huh."
Yeah, initially I thought it was going to be Anakin.
Oh,
He
I
was
would have.
gonna turn around.
That is what I've wanted from
Well,
the.
that's what everybody was wanting. Yeah.
I wanted Hayden Christensen to come back in some form, and I just wanted that so bad. But anyway, I
Everybody
thought
does.
it was Luke. Yeah, I thought it was Luke because Rey had been trying to contact the Jedi who came before her, and it would be funny if like all of a sudden Kylo was like haunted by Luke's Force Ghost, "Hey kid," and he's like ignoring him. Like I don't know. That's what I was expecting. I was like, okay, this is gonna be funny.
Just
But
do a
no.
Christmas Carol, like you'll be haunted by 3 Jedi.
Alone.
I have a feeling that they're saving Hayden Christensen for something else. It's going to be Disney Plus or something.
Just get this out of the way as it's in my head, because it's at the end of the movie. Because you said Disney Plus, and I keep hearing that. Like Lando Calrissian and the new like she sits down and he's like, "Where are you
Right?
from?" She's like, "I don't know." Like, "We'll find out." And
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Disney
to
Plus.
be continued on
Well,
Disney.
but there's two ways you could take that. You could take it as he wants to help this girl find out where she's from, or you could take it the creepy way, like,
Right.
we'll find out.
I know, but that's just Lando, man. When he's like,
Colt 45.
give Leia all my love, and I was like, oh, hey, dude, come on.
You're old.
I
That scene
love
was
that they
so
brought.
weird. That scene was so weird at the end of the movie, and I was like, do we have another hour? Are they going to go on another quest? What the heck is that?
We're going to a casino planet.
But I love that the way they brought Lando back was that he was in a disguise.
Yeah, the moment he showed up, I was like, "Oh, that's Lando."
I
Yeah,
love
exactly.
that. Because it's a callback to Return of the Jedi, and I loved it.
Hey, did Finn ever tell Rey that thing he wanted to tell her?
Oh.
No.
But he said
No.
Leia knew too, and I'm pretty
I
sure
guess,
he
like,
knew that.
He knew about Palpatine. I
Yeah,
guess?
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah,
I said that first,
yeah.
but then someone suggested that it was he could feel the Force.
Yeah, I thought it was the second one you said, Tyler.
Yeah, I thought it was the
Yeah.
Force.
I never quite got that. Yeah, what he was going to.
Well, I thought it was the Force because he at that one scene he looks up at the one of the Star Destroyers and he's like, "It's up there."
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
They said, "How do you know?" And he's like, "I just feel it."
Well, for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, I started getting that he was Force sensitive, but I didn't get that that's what he was going to tell Rey. Like I never
Yeah.
quite.
I don't think any of those options is really a good thing to tell somebody right before you're about to die. Oh, hey, before we die, by the way, Palpatine's your grandfather. Poof, dead. Thanks.
By the way, I can feel you in places. What?
Wait.
Which again, maybe
Forcefully.
they'll explore that and
Forcefully.
Disney Plus show.
There you go.
That is the thing about Star Wars being owned by a mega company like Disney that has a new streaming service. They're gonna pimp their characters out to everything now. So unlike when Lucas owned everything, he had to sit away and knew what he wanted to do. Now it's like, okay, we have this over here and we have this over here, and we've got all these tie-ins. So let's make sure we put little bits and pieces in here that we can use wherever we want to on our own streaming service.
20 years from now, they'll do another trilogy, and all these people will be old, and they'll come back, and then suddenly Finn is like this powerful Jedi, and we'll get like a small little snippet of a backstory showing Rey training him That's how he got powerful. Just before he dies by getting sucked into space.
And you know what also happened in this new trilogy? There'll be the second order of the First Order Empire, and they'll be fighting the Resistance Rebellion, and they're going to have a Star Killer base Death Star, and the Emperor's going to come back again.
Personally, if
y'all, it's going to be Miss Palpatine that comes back.
Yeah, the mother. It's like Scream 2.
Yeah.
Mom shows up.
Personally, if Disney's going to do more movies, I want them to go old. I want them to go back to Old Republic. Go way in the past. Do that thing. We don't need to see. I don't think we need to see more of this.
No.
I think they should just leave it like this. And then if they want to do new Star Wars stuff, go old. Take it back. Because you can do all new characters. You don't have to worry about anybody from the original trilogy, from the prequels, from the sequels. You just go back.
No, man. I already know who the villain is.
It's
Did I ever tell y'all the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
But see, he'll be like a little boy in that one. Yeah. Cute and adorable, pod racer maybe. I want to live forever.
So let's I want to take us to the opening crawl. This is the opening thing. Here's one of my pet peeves of the movie. If everybody's gonna give their pet peeves, I'll give mine. The opening crawl states that Palpatine has sent out a message.
Yep.
Do you know where you can listen to the message?
Fortnite.
That is the stupidest thing. Hey, you want to know more about the story? Play Fortnite. Why?
Yeah. There's quite a few things I've been reading where gaps are filled in via the visual dictionary or visual. There's a book about Rise of the Skywalker.
Yeah.
And I guess there's stuff in there where there's even stuff about Lando, where they talk about that Lando, after Return of the Jedi, he tried to start a family and had a daughter who was taken, who vanished, because the First Order was supposedly targeting senior people from the rebellion, and his daughter was stolen. Which, okay, well maybe that's supposed to be his daughter at the end of this movie. And also there's some stuff in there that at the beginning of the film that Kylo Ren is actually on Mustafar, and he gets that artifact from Vader's castle. Yeah. This is all information that is not in the film, but if you do the homework and the extended reading, it fills in all the gaps, which is really, really frustrating.
But at least it's a book. It's not a free game that you download on PS4 that you play with people that camp out and kill you every 5 seconds. You know? At least it's a book you can read. Fortnite?
That's weird.
At least they could have put that on Star Wars Battlefront.
Yes. That would make more sense.
Yeah, if you start the game,
Star Wars game,
suddenly a thing comes up and like plays that would have been kind of cool.
Why in the world Fortnite?
Or maybe have it play in the movie. Maybe they're replaying the transmission for someone, or
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, that is not what I thought you were going to talk about, the issue that Palpatine literally causes his own demise by sending a message. Like, no one with half a brain cell in Palpatine's position be like, surprise. I froze there for a minute. But yeah, I mean, he would just show up and take you out, and then there's the issue. It's like, Palpatine created Snoke. It's like, okay, so he already had the Empire, so he already took over, but now he needs to take over. But now because Kylo's in position, so he had this fleet, but why didn't he just make the First Order bigger with this fleet and make himself known?
Well, the only reason that I think that he created Snoke is because what happened in The Last Jedi.
No, that's what I said. If
Yeah.
the Rise of Skywalker has a problem, it's The Last Jedi.
It
Yeah.
was funny though to me, like when Rey's walking through, or was it Kylo's walking through? You just see like corpses of clones of Snoke just floating in a tube.
Yeah,
It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, this
creepy.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing too, I mean, if they had known from the beginning, which goes back to why you need to have a plan, they could have dropped hints that the Emperor was still alive through all three of the other films.
Yeah.
Because explain to me what his plan was. I mean, like Tyler was saying, he's been hiding out for 30 years with a fleet of classic Star Destroyers, which was cool, waiting until his son had a daughter who was old enough that would kill him so he could take over her body. It's like
Because that's the
Palpatine,
thing
Palpatine
now.
has the longest plans, like, you know, in 35 years, my plan will come to fruition and I will take over the galaxy when my daughter comes to see me and I kill her and oh my gosh, dude, what?
Well, I mean,
It makes no sense.
but he's always had long plans because he's a long play type of guy. Because look what he did with Anakin.
Exactly. It's like,
It wasn't a.
so.
It was a long play. He's like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna manipulate the midichlorians to create this kid, and then I'm gonna wait for him to get older, and then I'm gonna, basically get him on my side. And
but at the beginning, he tells Kylo Ren to go kill her. But then he needs her. But then he needs her, and then he doesn't because he's going to, suck the life out of her like a what's those things in Harry Potter? What's those things in Harry Potter? The
mentors.
The mentors. He
yeah.
mentors her life force. But then she kills him. I don't know. It was just one ridiculous, goofy thing after another.
The one thing I got from it, which I don't think they explained well, which I kind of saw where they were going with it, but it was just, there was just so much convolution in there, was that, like, if I remember, like, there was, like, supposedly a thing where there's always two Sith, an apprentice, and a mentor or whatever, and
So
I don't think
who are all those people in the crowd?
Yeah, I don't. Those are just minions. I think.
Yeah.
I think they're the
All
people
just
that
moshing
built.
out there.
Like that was like the cult following. I think.
Yeah.
But I don't think he was going to possess her. I think it was like the passing of the torch type thing. Like Like the apprentice is always supposed to kill the master to take all the knowledge and the power, and they become more powerful, and it kind of builds.
Yeah.
So they become more powerful over time. That's what I kind of thought they were going for, but they didn't explain it well.
Yeah. I don't think they had time to explain anything well, and I wish they had divided it into two movies because they had to fix a bunch of stuff. I think if they didn't have to fix a bunch of stuff, they'd explain stuff better. But.
So has anyone, and I'm sure they did, it's probably one thing they thought about, but has anybody done the math on the children and the grandchild?
Yeah, that was kind of confusing to me too. I was like, shouldn't she be older? Like,
yeah, I mean, if anything, she'd be like a great grandchild.
I'm like, when did he have this kid?
Because how old is Anakin, Darth Vader? Wasn't he like in his 50s?
Yeah, like when he died, like Anakin was like supposed to be pretty old.
Right.
Like he was like, I mean, he wasn't like Obi-Wan old, but he was still old.
And he was an old man when Anakin was a kid.
And I wasn't sure if so did Palpatine like meet somebody like like on Tinder or something, and like then had a kid, or did he do another?
That's gonna be a Disney Plus show.
Yes.
Do like another Force like baby and.
Yeah, I mean, was the son a clone or was it like a natural thing?
I just see him just like going out to a bar, spotting a lady on the other side of the room, and then just like Force like baby, and like lightning shoots over to her, and she's pregnant, and then he leaves. I don't know. Do it.
Maybe he met up with somebody at a villains pub.
Yeah.
One of the villains.
And how did the parents know we got to hide the kid because the dead emperor who's hiding out is looking for her? I mean,
Yeah,
did he have powers or abilities at all? I mean, it was just, and that's why I say it was just a mess. If you think about it even a little bit, none of it makes sense.
yeah, if it was if instead of his son or whatever, if it was the same thing that in the comics he made Anakin through
Mhm.
like force impregnation or whatever you want to call it. If like he was doing that to like multiple kids or something, trying to like
Yeah, but then how did they know that they were related to him?
Mhm.
yeah, like that would be the thing.
How
You
did
couldn't
Finn
really
know?
you couldn't find out the way that they found out by doing that.
Yeah.
It'd have to be like Palpatine explaining his plan.
Ryan, I'm sorry. I love you, buddy. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you enjoyed the digs at Ryan Johnson. I just, you know,
Mhm.
it's got its problems. I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed it far more than I did The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
too,
But
and I think I enjoyed it because of the characters.
Yeah.
Like the story
Yeah.
didn't really like
Yeah,
do
the
for me
characters.
as much.
Mhm.
But
That's the one thing I like. The characters in this movie were actually characters.
right,
yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
that's what I liked. They were all
Except
going
Dio,
ways.
he
Finn
was
wasn't trying to run
absolutely
away.
pointless. The little hairdryer droid.
Yeah.
He was
He had
like
no
our.
purpose.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
well. He had the one purpose of telling Finn that
Where to
like
go.
kind of where to go,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
He did?
Yeah,
it
he's the
was
one that knew where
yeah.
to go because he's like, oh, this ship was on its way to that place.
Yeah, he knew the destination on and the direction to go to get there, but they didn't know how to maneuver through
Yeah.
to get
Mm.
to it, and that's what Ray provided.
I must have missed that part. Huh.
See, I kind of felt like that whole thing could have been simplified. To me, that was sort of like the big casino thing in the last one, where it was like this convoluted, like 3PO won't tell us, so we got to find a guy who knows a guy who can hack into his head, and it was just like, really, why are we doing all of this? It's like
Oh,
it would have been
I thought
cooler
you were
if like
talking
maybe
about the
Ray
dagger.
just read the dagger, like she just read it because like why can I do this? Why can I read Sith or something and move on, to the next thing.
I mean, I thought you were talking about the dagger and like why some guy who already knows where to go would put the location on a dagger.
Well,
So
that too.
the dagger was
That you
weird
have to
for
stand
me.
in a specific spot.
Yeah,
So somebody had to like make that stand in the exact spot where Ray was, and like if they were off just a little bit, it would be pointed in the wrong position. Yeah.
yeah, that
Like
was
why
a little
why would you put
odd.
it on a dagger?
'Cause I was like, what? So when was this dagger made? It had to be made after the Death Star blew up.
Yes.
So who would make that to line up with that
To find a
point
Sith
where
artifact.
and
One of
Why would you leave it
one of
there?
those millions of minions that he had.
it just that felt like, oh, we're in Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Well,
Exactly.
The-
Exactly.
that's a
Crystal Skull.
callback. That's a call. The dagger's a callback to Clone Wars or Rebels or something like that.
Okay.
It's not that dagger though.
No. It's just a callback. It's not that dagger.
If she would like able to like hold the dagger and use it almost as like a compass, like
Mhm.
with the Force or something, and it kind of pointed kind of where to go with her using it, might have made more sense to me. The outline thing just was kind of threw me off.
Yeah. And that
Well,
little thing she pulls out of the side.
Oh.
It's like, oh, that's convenient. That's neat. There's a little.
Well, whoever made the little pyramid things made the dagger, right?
No, I don't think so.
No,
Because
because the pyramid things were already there.
yeah, the pyramid things are older. Like they pointed
But
to
they
the
they made it to find where the pyramid things were afterwards.
Those
that's
were like
what
little Sith things to show you how to get to
Yeah.
that world of the Sith home world.
Well, the guy
It's
that was
arguably. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
the guy that they find the ship in the desert. He was a Sith guy, right?
No, he was a
He was
bounty
a-
hunter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
but
a
he was
Jedi
like-
hunter.
yeah.
But he was working for the Sith.
Yeah.
and he had the dagger. So somehow either he made it or somebody in the Sith organization,
Yeah,
Sithco, made it.
one of those guys in the crowd made it.
But why would you make it to find an artifact?
Yeah, that's what was like. They couldn't just give this guy coordinates on where to go and drop off the kid.
That's not very Sith-like.
No, instead, after you get the kid, you're going to go on a quest to the old Death Star out in the middle of the ocean, find the thing, which will point you. What? Yondu never had to go through all that trouble. He just picked
It
up.
did remind me. It did remind me of that. I was like, didn't I just see this? Some guy was hired to take a kid. I was like, oh yeah.
And it's kind of like, and again, it's like they could have done it in a really cool way where, they find the dagger, it's got Sith writing on it, Rey somehow is able to read it, and then like Chris is suggesting, they go to the planet, she knows the coordinates, they could save all of this time of not having to do the stuff with 3PO, that she could go there and they could levitate and it could kind of point, it could be mysterious and sort of ooh and ah and sort of Jedi-esque. Instead, it's, well, let me pull out my compass and look at the thing and do the cross.
You got to stand in the exact spot.
I know. And in Indiana Jones, there was a hole in the floor. They put the pole in, and it's like, here's that patch of dirt. Oh, there it is. Stand here. Look. It just seemed like there was a better way to do the same thing, which could have been cooler.
Oh, yeah.
and not
always
so
a better way.
Because I was like, I felt like at times like Rey forgot she had Jedi powers. It's like they're on those little skiffs and there's like jet troopers flying after them, and she's like, pew 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 pew. Just force push them out of the air or throw sand at them or something. It's like, if I could do what you do, I would never use a blaster. I'd be using the Force all the time.
So how many people thought Chewie was just gone when the
thing
blew up?
Oh, when it blew up, I was like, my heart sunk for a minute, and then I was like, no. I was like, well, because here's the thing. Why? Because in the other two, they had significant deaths.
Yeah.
I was almost expecting it, so I was like,
yeah.
So it's like, is Chewie the significant death? Because everybody knew that Carrie Fisher was, Princess Leia was going to go, so that wouldn't be the surprise death. But if Chewbacca died, that would be a surprise. So when that happened, I was like, oh gosh, are they doing it again? Are they pulling at our heartstrings to tear us apart in the middle of this movie? But then he was fine. So I was like, because when they saw, there was two ships. So I was going back and forth. Is he dead, or was he just on that other ship that was right there beside that one? Because there was two transport ships sitting side by side.
I did enjoy that moment though when they both pulled at that ship.
Oh,
that was
I
cool.
was like, whoa! I mean, I verbally was out loud. I was like, holy crap!
As soon as I saw the lightning, though, I was like, oh no, she's related to Palpatine.
Yeah, that kind of gave it away right there.
I was like, oh.
No, she could have been related to Dooku.
You know what? I think I would have almost have preferred that if like
that would have been
was
funny.
her grandfather or something.
Like, you're a Dooku, and she's like, who?
Who? I'm a Dookie. What?
I'm changing my name to Skywalker. I'm not a Dooku.
I was thinking though, like when Chewbacca went out to get her, and then you saw the Knights of Ren come up, and I was like, oh gosh, like in my head I was like, they're going to kill Chewie. It's going to be this epic battle between Chewie, the Knights of Ren, and he takes some of them out, but they end up taking him out. I was like, that would have been a cool epic battle, and then that thing blew up, and I was like, oh, don't tell me that was it. Like I had this all thing in my head that he was going to go out like in a war cry or something.
Oh, I want you to live forever. They already killed him in the books, so they blew him up on a planet. But anyways, weren't the Knights of Ren just pointless? I mean, I thought that. I was like, they're pointless. What a throwaway.
Pointless.
They're so cool looking too. They could have done cool stuff with them.
Like a biker gang that was just going through space.
They were the Crimson Guard of this movie.
Kinda.
Well, the Crimson Guard kind of fought better though. So
no. The Crimson Guard from
from the
they just stood around.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I did enjoy, because I know I've been saying a lot of the stuff that I didn't enjoy, but I did really like Finn, Poe, and Rey. I liked their
Yeah.
dynamic. Finally,
Yeah.
and it made me wish that they had been together in the second one, and they had done more together in the first one, because I was talking to my daughter about this, and I feel like in the existing trilogy, in the middle three, you had them all together in the first one.
Yeah.
And you got to know them. So then when they split them off in the second one, you're okay with that. And then they come back together briefly as a group in the third one, and then they kind of split off again. And this trilogy, they do it the opposite way, where they haven't really built that relationship until the last movie. So it's
Yeah.
it's kind of like you're just kind of getting into like enjoying them being together, and then it's like, oh, we're done. The adventure's over.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like,
I
oh man.
liked Poe immensely more in this one.
Oh yes, he was so
yeah.
much better.
He started to feel kind of like a Han Solo type character, like he had this
Especially
backstory.
his backstory being a spice runner.
Yeah, I
makes
know.
you think it's like, oh, he's kind of like
love
Han
that.
Solo, I guess.
He's a spice girl.
But they
Yeah.
had, but he had that great line where he's like, "Yeah, I ran Spice. You're a stormtrooper. She's a scavenger." It's like they all had like these weird backgrounds. these
Dirty past.
Yeah, sturdy paths. It was kind of cool. But
I liked Kylo a lot better in this one. Like I felt like he was a
Yeah.
stronger character. I felt like he was so wishy-washy in the last one. Like he was just so and wimpy and never really strong. And even in the first one of the new series, but I felt like he was good. Like I didn't feel like he was wimpy at all.
Yeah, I
no
like
temper
that.
tantrums.
And I liked when
Yeah,
when he turned back to being good, started going by Ben, like that fight with the Knights of
indention.
Ren. Like it almost felt like he was fighting like Han Solo would fight if he was like a
Yeah.
Jedi.
Yeah. I
Like
get that.
it was he had some kind of fun, playful kind of maneuvers and facial expressions and little things like that. I was like, oh, this feels more like Han Solo now.
I
As a
bought
Jedi.
into it and I didn't like it. Filmmakers they have these tricks. Like, oh, here he comes, and then he jumps and he jumps on that chain and he goes, ow. It's like, stop, don't make me like the guy who murdered his father. Like, this guy does not deserve redemption. And I literally out loud when he died, I went, good. No, he doesn't deserve to live. Like he's a horrible character. Like, and I'm not a horrible character. I loved his character actually. I was one of the few that people call him a brat and whatnot, spoiled brat. I was like, dude, if you're an angry guy, like, and you got a lightsaber, you're gonna destroy some crap. Like I loved the fact that he just like went to town and went ham on his, the console in the Force Awakens. I was just like, yes, like we've never actually seen that. And if you're a normal guy, like who has some anger issues, or a guy who has anger issues, you're gonna do that. So I actually like the character, but no, he doesn't deserve redemption. Somebody who just stabs his father, no.
No, I don't think he. I mean, yeah, I think he needed to die at the end, but I just liked that he did, like his whole character, his attitude, and everything did start to revert back to
Right.
probably what he was
Right.
before all that happened,
Yeah.
and it was a nice change. Now, when she healed him,
Yeah.
did it also heal his face?
No, that was already.
Because well, later on when like he's there like healing her and she's dead.
Yeah,
and I
the
looked at
scar's
his
gone.
Yeah, the scar was gone.
Mhm.
So I was like,
I don't know.
did I miss that? Did it heal on his face too? Because yeah, there was no scar.
Maybe
Wow.
that was just a
I didn't notice
mistake.
That was some complete healing.
Oops.
Mm-hmm. Well, everything's fixed. Like my appendix is back. And
Well, also their little smoochy smooch and the whole Raylo thing. It's like a Star Wars trope. It's like women in Star Wars are really attracted to guys who like murder lots of innocent people. It's like they want to They're just, hey, Padme, I killed all these Tusken Raiders and the women and the children. Let me just be clear. I killed everybody. And she's like, oh, come on. It's okay. We should get married and have babies. It's like, what?
Yeah. Well, they're no longer Raylo because he's Ben, so it's Bay.
Baylo?
So it's just Bay. Just Ben and Ray.
I watched you kill your
Bay.
father, and I know you killed all these other people, but gosh darn it, give me a little smoochie.
Well,
Gosh darn it,
yeah.
you look good without your shirt.
Technically, are they kissing cousins?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to clarify.
Maybe.
They are.
There's always that tension there, so you knew it was going to happen at some point in the movie because it was just the tension was always there.
Yeah. Thanks to Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, the thing I was mentioning to the guys before we started was if you really start to think about it, it's like, Palpatine kind of turned and raised Anakin. They twisted him, turned him to the dark side. He had a kid, had 2 kids. He redeemed himself, threw the Emperor down the shaft, killed the Emperor, but he has a grandkid, which now Luke and Leia end up training. And it's like this weird ancestral, just the 5 of us. Just the 5 of us bickering and,
Well, I mean, it's like I told the boys beforehand. I kind of pondered for a second. I was like, wait, does this mean that kind of indirectly Palpatine wins? I was like, because it's his grandchild that's like now, I don't know. She's the all powerful one. I don't know. It's just very strange to me.
She's
It's
good,
just
though.
weird.
She's a good
Huh?
one. She's a good girl.
Yeah,
Fine.
I'm
Palpatine
totally
was a
fine
good guy
with
the
how they
whole
did it, too.
time.
Huh?
He was the Snape from Harry Potter. Palpatine was good the whole time. He was trying to bring balance to the Force by being evil.
I mean, I'm totally fine with how I've expressed my opinion that I firmly believe that JJ, wanted this to be the Skywalker saga. The first trilogy would be about Anakin, the next one would be about Luke, and then the next one would be about Luke's kid. Like, it just made sense to me. It wouldn't be Obi-Wan, it wouldn't be Palpatine, it would be Luke, because it's the Skywalker saga. And he dressed her in similar colors. She grew up on a desert planet. Like, it wasn't a mistake. I believe that. So he had no choice. He wanted to make her a Skywalker, and that was the only way he could do it, is just make her take the name. And which I'm totally fine with. I was telling this to a friend of mine, actually Hank, my buddy who's been on the show. I told him, I said, I think that's cool because it means, you are not defined by where you come from. You get to choose. So I think that's a cool idea. But I still wish she was directly related. I think.
Yeah, I like though how because some people are like, oh, you can't just take the name Skywalker, but to me
Han
it's
did it.
Well,
Han picked Solo, right? So he got to pick.
Yeah,
his name.
yeah, but I saw it on a different level. I saw it like that, not all families are born, some are made, and Leia became her mother figure. She was sort of adopted into the Skywalker clan almost, and that's why she says, I am a Skywalker, because that is where she found her family, not through Palpatine.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that. I'm okay that she says I'm Rey Skywalker. She is part of their family now. She was, not born into it, but made into it. And I liked it.
Yeah, I like it.
But one thing I think Tyler said earlier was, does it step on the end of Jedi with Anakin and Vader and his turn? And if you kind of look at it, and again, it's like this movie, if you just look at it as a singular movie, it's got its flaws, it sort of works. But if you look at it as like a chapter in a larger story, and this is kind of the problem with the new trilogy, it doesn't quite fit in real great. And if you look at those first 6 movies, talking about it being, the Skywalker saga, Anakin and Palpatine, they're so interwoven through the first 3 and through the next 3, ultimately ending with them both dying. And with Vader making the sacrifice and destroying the person that has essentially caused him all this pain and suffering. But wait, the story keeps going, and it's like now Luke isn't directly tied to the new hero, and then Palpatine miraculously shows up at the end, and it just, in a way, to me, as a whole story of 9 films, it sort of cheapens the first 6 chapters of the book, because it's like there's flaws to the prequels that some story elements don't quite mesh with your original trilogy episodes, but they still sort of work as a package. And then it's kind of like, as a writer that wrote their 6 books, and then someone else decided to continue the story years later when it never really should have kept going, and tried to mash a bunch of stuff together that doesn't quite fit with what came before.
Yeah, I mean it's Disney, so they're gonna do what they want to. Uh, like they made their thing. I mean, I think that yes, it didn't have to do really with Luke, but it did have to do with Leia. And I think if you go back to that line where it says there is another, when they're talking about Luke, something happened, and it goes, but there is another, and the other is Leia, and this is sort of a Skywalker story, but not the Skywalker that we think it should be Luke. It's Leia's story. This is Leia Skywalker's story. How all this happened. If you look at it like that, if you take the Disney element out of it, this is sort of the continuation of the Skywalker story through Leia. And I think if Carrie Fisher hadn't have passed away, we would have saw that more. That it would have become the Leia Skywalker story, not the Luke. Like this trilogy would have been the Leia Skywalker story.
That's a good point. And I think they did a good job with using that old footage and CG her costumes and stuff to make it feel like it was new.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually really surprised by how much footage there was.
I was too.
In the movie.
Yeah, I was. So when Rey, I got a question. So when Rey starts connecting with all the Jedi Force ghosts or whatever.
Yeah.
Like one of them, like it was kind of hard for me to pinpoint all the voices a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was like, bring balance to the Force like I did, or whatever.
That was Anakin.
That was Anakin. But he really didn't.
I still don't understand what that means.
Yeah, I don't either. And it was so cheesy. It was like, bring balance to the Force like I did. It's like, wait.
He had babies that brought balance to the Force. Luke and Leia.
If anything, he would be like, I don't know. I just feel like that wouldn't be the advice he would give. I don't know who wrote that line or who approved that, but that I had a major problem with that.
If he said like, bring balance to the Force like I couldn't.
Right.
Or throw him down a hole like I did.
Yeah.
The sad thing for me about that was Ahsoka was in there. Ahsoka's that means Ahsoka's dead.
If you heard them all, and this is just me, this is like too many cooks in the kitchen. This is Tyler the writer or whatever. But if you heard them all, and then it's like, oh, Rey, and then it was Anakin where it started with him. It's like, you can do this. The power is within you, or whatever, something like that. Give him a line that like just knocked all those other ones, those bad prequels, just out, and then you're like, holy crap. It
would have been really cool if like they had actually been there. Like if she had like a moment where she just kind of was like in the Force, and like all the ghosts
That'd cost them more money.
Just started coming out. It's still visually, it would have been cool, and I think it would have been one of those moments that kind of gives you chills, because it's like, oh my gosh, look, there's Samuel L. Jackson, and there's
he is dead.
Ewan McGregor,
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, they would have had to cast real actors for the animated ones, but it could have been really, really something.
It would have been more powerful. I think. It needed better visual.
I wanted Mace's line to be different. I wanted Mace to say, "Get that mother bleeping Palpatine off that mother bleeping throne."
Go for the head.
His weakness is being picked up. Go.
What did you guys think about how? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was just going to say, definitely would have been a better version of, almost a better version of like, or I shouldn't say better, just their version of the scene where Yoda, Obi-Wan, and Anakin appear to Luke.
Yeah.
It would have been that. It would have been that moment, but so much bigger and grander. But then it goes back to what I was telling y'all, which I don't think I didn't mention in the episode. But it's like one of the issues. It's not an issue because it was such a cool moment. But when Rey throws Luke's lightsaber and then he catches it as a Force ghost, and I already told the fellas this, but it was just like, okay, so he can catch the lightsaber, he can hold the lightsaber. Why don't he just go and do the job for him?
He can pull the X-wing out of the water.
Yeah, I mean, he can like throw the rocks and stuff, and it's like Force ghosts. They can't be killed, so like they can't be hurt. So just like he could just take them out. Like it's a unstoppable force. So like, no pun intended. But like, if all the guys just appear, and
yeah,
let's kick his ass. Sorry. But
That's not the Jedi way.
No, that's more the ending of Book of Life.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Where all his dead ancestors show up. And
Lion King
kicking
does that too.
Let me just say that X-wing has got to have so much water damage. It has been underwater so many times. That cockpit must smell so bad.
Yeah,
It would in our galaxy maybe, but this is a galaxy far, far away. They do things differently there.
Nothing
You just have to
rusts. Thank God.
don't know.
That argument that a lot of people had for why Luke had to force FaceTime Kylo because his X-wing didn't work.
He couldn't get there because it couldn't fly there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now it kind of like wah.
I needed to pick up some more power converters because the X-wings are all rusted.
Everybody's gonna be like, "Boy, these guys really hated this movie." It's like, no, we actually enjoyed it.
What did you guys think about how she defeated Palpatine with the double saber lightning block?
I think at that point of the movie, I don't know what else they could have done.
I mean, has he not learned that when the lightning starts to get reflected on you, stop lightning? I mean, it's like this happened when Mace did it. I can't stop it. That's when Vader threw him down the shaft. He was still shooting lightning.
In old age, sometimes you can't stop stuff from happening. It just happens sooner than you expect it to, and
it's like electricity. If you grab something that's electrified, you can't let go of it.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's science.
I don't know.
Star Wars science.
Science.
It's a movie.
I mean, the only other option. Well, probably not the only other option. They could have done one of two things. It could have made it this big, epic, giant moment. Which I think it's funny. He was taking out a whole fleet of starships with this lightning, but Rey can stop it with 2 lightsabers. And I know she's deflecting, I guess, is what is implied. But anyway, so she could have done one of two things. They could have made it this big, epic moment, like Indiana Jones style. Palpatine melts and there's wind and music and, grunting face. Or she could have just stood there and went, I am all the Jedi. And then just went like underhanded lightning. Wham! And just real quick. And then just. And then like one shot. And it's like, whoa, what the crap was that? But then everybody would have been like, oh, that was too quick.
I think
dramatic.
It kind of solves a little problem. Like it's one of those things. It's just like you kind of write yourself into a corner a little bit with this. It's like, yes, kill me and take my power and become the new one. And they're like, no, I won't kill you. Okay, we need to kill him.
Yeah. You had to kill him.
Defeated.
So it kind of like she killed him, but like his own power killed himself.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like it kind of broke that a little bit. So it kind of worked because because he's like, yes, kill me. And she's like, no, I'm better than that. I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to kill all your guards.
Wow. Yeah. Didn't think about it.
But at the same time, it's like, couldn't Kylo have killed him and he could have just entered his body? Yeah. I mean, over the last 30 years, you couldn't have found anybody that you could have jumped into. I mean,
it had to be related.
You had to wait. I want to.
Let's talk.
My granddaughter.
Let's talk about when Falcon comes through the portal and all the Avengers follow him. I mean, sorry, when Lando comes with the Falcon and all the other ships follow him.
He's like, on your left.
Yes. None of these guys showed up in the last movie when we needed them, but they're here now.
I just want to know how all of those ships
Where-
managed to get through all those little like tight turns and
Well,
stuff
they had
together.
to. Well, and two, nobody knew how to get. Well, I guess they were leaving the breadcrumbs, right, to how to get there. That's right. I forgot about that. But
Yeah, but still, there's a lot of tight turns, and all those ships got
Yeah.
through at the same time.
Oh yeah.
They're really good at warping into place.
Yeah.
Not hitting anybody else. That was good.
I loved that they had the classic Star Destroyers. Because I mean, and I've heard people complain about, how did he amass this fleet and whatnot? And I was like, well, maybe, I guess since he survived, maybe he, took a lot of the remaining Empire ships and just kind of hid out with them, they're hiding out. But then I felt like they missed an opportunity because they're crewed by all First Order guys. I'm like, wouldn't it have been cool if they were crewed by like classic stormtroopers, classic Imperial uniforms? Like they've just been
Oh, that would have been
hiding
cool.
out there for 30 years waiting. I mean, I loved when they were on when she was on the Death Star 2 and there was like the helmets of the classic stormtroopers.
Yeah, I love that too.
And that was a great scene. I really, really liked that scene a lot. And
Yeah,
so
that
when
was cool.
those classic Star Destroyers started rising up, I was like, oh, he's been hanging on to these for 30 years. But then they go inside and it's all like it's the Apple Stormtroopers. They're all smooth.
It could have been
Perfect.
like the village, right? They wouldn't know that there's something out there. They could just be living just like it was the old Empire.
But he was
Totally.
controlling Snoke, and so I guess he was actually the one that made all the new stormtroopers, or the the First Order troopers. So I guess that makes sense.
If you look at it in a way that like he was almost dead and he had to like build himself up again, and he's like building this big army, and so like Snoke and all that was more manipulation to keep the galaxy in chaos until he could show back up. Like that kind of works in a way, but they didn't really kind of allude to that.
This is not a critique or anything about the movie in such a way. It's where I'm like, oh, I wish they would have done this. I'm going to say this to you fellas, like you're my friends. Would y'all? Because I had a thought, and I was like, no, I know why they did it, because they want to see Palpatine as Palpatine and one last time on the big screen, because he's the big bad guy. But when he was sucking the life force out of them, I thought, oh, it's going to turn him back into the old man that he was in the prequels.
Right.
I was like,
oh, yeah.
I mean, would y'all?
That would have been cool.
What do y'all think about
That would have been cool. That's what I thought. I thought he was going to be more youthful.
Yeah.
Maybe there just wasn't enough of their life force.
I don't think. Yeah, his fingers were coming back.
His fingers came back. His eyes came back to the Sith eyes.
They were trying.
His face got better, but he didn't get back to the senator.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been.
That would have been cool. I thought that would have been really cool. That's a great idea. Because I mean, my favorite Emperor makeup is still Return of the Jedi, because in the prequels he looked like a puffy frog. I mean, I know, he just got like heated up with lightning and stuff. He looked all like puffy and like he's been bloated and whatnot, like Fat Thor or something. And and this one he's hanging off the things, off his GLaDOS wires and stuff, and he's kind of got the zombie eyes and whatnot. And like, okay, well that's cool. But then even when he got young again, he still looked kind of poofy, and all of a sudden he's wearing his red vest. It's like he also had on his Sunday best, I guess, when he got younger. Like, oh, look at me with my red robes. That would have been pretty awesome, I think, if he had just been completely a guy again, which would have been almost unsettling when she's like, having to battle this guy that now looks like a guy and not like some haunted gargoyle. He could have revealed, pulled the cloak back, and it's, had like long flowing hair.
Did a Fabio.
Done a Fabio. Like 20 something.
All right. Well, sorry. Favorite new characters?
Could look like your dad. He could look like her dad.
Oh.
She could be like, oh my God, you look like my father.
She didn't know what her father.
Well, she did.
Sorta. Yeah, I
Because
guess.
she started to remember.
Well, that's why I didn't say it'd have been neat if Anakin could have appeared to her at the end, because we would know, but she would be laying there like, "Who the crap are
Who?
you?"
Who?
Who are you? Yeah.
Oh wait. Hey, wait. Do you recognize me now? Yes, it's me.
Oh.
It's me. I was Vader. I was the guy behind the mask. I'm sure your
So,
boyfriend's mentioned me a few times.
any favorite characters of the new characters?
Hmm.
I liked the little tech
Yeah,
guy.
he was.
He was just kind of funny.
Yeah,
He was a good little bit of humor.
I like
I
the new droid. The new droid was kind of cool.
He was cool looking. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
He's-
Pixar
he was-
lamp on wheels.
Yeah.
Pixar lamp on wheels. Yeah.
He reminded us of our new dog that we have because he's real skittish. Because it's like he'll come up to you and then you'll go to pet him. He'll jump back like, no, thank you. And we were like, it's Gus. It was so funny.
I liked Carrie Russell.
Yeah, I liked
thought
her
she did a good
character.
job.
I kind of wish that
She was awesome.
they didn't show her eyes. Like during
Oh,
that
really?
one.
I sort of liked the show.
Yeah. I
It,
hope
Yeah,
so.
it, it
She
gave
took
her
the
a
helmet.
human quality.
Yeah, I think that was going to be my pick. I think I like that character the best.
Yeah, I forgot about her.
I'd love to see a spinoff of that character.
Yes.
Mhm.
That'd be cool. Of course, I've always been a Carrie Russell fan, so that'd be cool to see her. in
Yeah.
stuff.
Why? Let me ask you guys this. Why does almost every Star Wars film have to have a world exploding weapon?
It's part of the
I-
formula, man.
I mean, was that necessary? I mean, it was like, let's destroy a planet because it's a Star Wars movie.
That's
I
what
mean,
the Emperor likes to do. So that makes sense why there was other ones.
and
It's fetish.
that technology is available for every single Star
Well,
Destroyer.
Well, it got smaller too, right?
That's what
It
he's been doing for 30 years. He's been developing small
guess.
Like,
technology.
wow. I mean, they made so the Death Star was
It's like Apple.
huge, right? But
Yeah.
then the new one, the Star Killer, right, base was bigger, and
Bigger.
then now they have these small guns that can do the same exact thing, which is just like technology now, right? Things were
Yeah.
huge for computers. Now you get these little tiny phones that we carry around, right?
I mean, it kind of makes sense technology-wise because I mean, Star Planet Killer, whatever, could take out like a whole solar system.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, this one can take out a small planet. It's a small planet.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Small planet. This is small.
I think it was my wife that mentioned that the repercussions of blowing up all these planets. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't the debris just like destroy
Everything else
everything else? I mean,
Yeah,
they
that's
don't
true.
get incinerated; they just get
Yeah.
blown apart.
blown apart.
I'm not sure why he blew up that planet.
Well, it
Uh,
was just the next
Is
one
there
in
a
line.
reason?
I said something. I forget.
Something about make sure it's something that one that they know or something.
Yeah, like I didn't quite follow that. I'm like, this is like the first time we've seen this planet. Like, why would this be?
No.
Yes.
It's
Well,
one
they're
that
not going to blow
Poe
up Tatooine.
do. Poe do it. So
Like, blow up that planet that Poe likes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like Poe gave them a hard time. So.
I don't like that Poe guy. He looks
Yeah.
a little weird. Blow that one up.
I love the scene though with I don't remember Carrie Russell's character's name.
Starts with
But
a
it's-
Z on it.
Yeah, at the
Zero.
end when she they're all celebrating and Poe gives her that look like, so you want to hook
Little
back up,
smoochy?
and she was just like, nope. And he's like, okay.
That's
You know
funny.
why? He hasn't killed enough people. He hasn't killed enough innocent people yet.
Mhm.
I just thought that was pretty hilarious. She was like, so you want to? And she's just like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
good.
I would hate to, and I guess if you're a person, if you're a celebrity, right? Obviously people are going to believe that you were in the movie, like your name's going to be on the poster and stuff, whatever. But still, I would hate to think that I was in a movie like Star Wars and you never saw my face.
Oh,
Like
Anthony Daniels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know,
Anybody?
but still, like, yeah, I mean, point proven, man. Thank you.
Chewbacca.
Like, you show a kid Anthony Daniels and be like, "That's C-3PO." They're gonna be like, "Wait,
Oh,
what?"
No, Anthony Daniels. He's okay. I mean, I think he's fine with it because I don't know if you've ever met Anthony Daniels or been in the room with Anthony Daniels, but he has this aura about him that he's hot stuff and he knows it.
No.
He's like big. He's like, I'm big stuff. I'm C-3PO. You know, he knows it. So I don't think he's bad that he's facing.
Mm-mm.
So he thinks he's
I,
big stuff.
talking about
So
unmasked characters. I thought it was a shame that, I mean, they literally could have created the Boba Fett that they wanted for this trilogy if they would have just brought Phasma back from the dead one more time. Like, if she survived twice in a row, death, like, and you build up like you never see her face, right? And then in the sequel, she comes back, she has this big fight, and then you just see her eye because her mask gets ripped off a little bit, then she falls into flames. It's perfect because then you bring her back again, she takes off the helmet and she's burnt, and mangled. She's got like a patch on her eye and stuff, and it's like, oh, there she is, and it's like, yeah, you literally made this bad to the bone character that just would not die. Like, I genuinely believe that everybody would have been like, yeah, okay, we'll clap. This is hysterical. She made it. She's alive. Yeah, she deserves this.
And then she'd get her own Disney Plus series.
Yeah. Maybe she
Still
still
might.
will.
You never know, because I mean, nobody knows really where she came from. It's just like all of a sudden she's.
I mean, the guys from Rogue One are getting their own Disney Plus
Yeah,
series, and
nice.
they've been dead for years.
I was actually surprised. I was waiting for her to pop up in some small way, and at a certain point, I was like, "Huh, I guess she's just not. Nope, she's actually dead for good."
She
Okay.
was there. She just had a red uniform on instead.
What was that all about?
She was just one of the Sith
We're
troopers.
Sith troopers. What does that mean?
That was just their,
Personal
let's
trooper.
sell more toys. Let's sell more. Let's have this. I mean, a lot of characters in Star Wars is like that. It's like, let's make
Yeah.
this character so we can sell toys.
Oh yeah, the little kid that she meets on that party planet or whatever with the festival going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Like the kid says its name, I was like, oh, there's a toy.
Yeah.
Gave it a name.
Gave it a
And you were like, "No, you're still not as cute as Baby Yoda."
No.
Nice try.
I did feel bad for the actress that plays Rose
Oh,
because it felt like they made this character in the last movie. We gotta put her in this movie. So
wasn't
they
her
just kinda-
fault.
like they just
She
kind
was
of
just
No.
a
the whole love story. They're like, we're gonna kind of
it-
skirt past
it's
that.
it's the Skywalker saga. It's about the Skywalkers. Come on.
They could have killed her off.
That was
Should
it.
have.
Was pretty funny when they're leaving, and Finn's like, "Hey, you coming along?" And she's like, "No, I got to do some paperwork." And he's like, "Okay, bye." It was.
I was
it
like,
was
are they
sort
gonna
of
hug,
funny.
kiss, or anything? It's just like, oh, pat on the shoulder.
See ya.
See you later, buddy. I guess it didn't work out.
Well, I don't.
Nah.
I think in the last part of the Last Jedi when they kiss, I still think that Finn was just sort of like, "Oh, okay. Well, this is gonna be uncomfortable, but
I don't like you like that.
like you like me."
like a sister.
I like you, but I
Oh,
don't
you are
like
my
you like
sister.
Have you murdered a lot of innocent people? No.
I try to run away a lot.
So yeah, I think she was just, she just fell off because of
Yeah.
where she was introduced.
So yeah, I just kind of felt bad for that actress a little bit.
Yeah, she's a great actress, and I feel bad for her too.
Mhm, yeah.
Let's see. So, force powers, we got some new ones. You got any favorite ones? You got any ones that's like, what the heck?
Well, if I hadn't have seen the Mandalorian
Yeah.
with the healing,
They set it up.
like I would have been like, oh, they can heal like wounds now. I didn't know that.
Mhm.
But that was in the extended universe, wasn't it, Ryan?
Yeah. Well, I mean, she had all the Jedi texts, and that's where she's learned all this stuff. She
Yeah.
them all. So she learned. I still don't really know how much time happened between the Last Jedi and this movie. I think there was a
I thought
lot,
it was supposed to be like a year,
just a year.
maybe.
Felt like- But yeah, so all these force powers have been seen in other forms of
Yeah.
media.
That's what I'm saying. Like if I hadn't have seen it in the Mandalorian, I think
Yeah.
when I watched this, I'd be like, oh, okay, they can
I was
Uh,
okay with the Force healing, even if I hadn't seen it in the Mandalorian. To me, I just thought they went a little overboard on let's just reach out into this other place and take stuff. I think they went too far with that.
Oh.
Well,
You had the Darth Vader helmet, you had the bead
Pun
necklace,
intended.
you had the lightsaber.
Lightsaber trick. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, we get it.
See,
Yeah.
I don't know why. I mean, I guess I've just gotten to the point where it's just so, it's far beyond it. There's a term for it, but it's that, it's magic is all it is now. So I'm just like, okay, I accept it.
Yeah.
I think when
Yeah,
it comes down to, and I don't know if I've said this on the episode now. I'm kind of lost track of what I've said and what I haven't said, but how the whole, saving life and like, creating life with the Force and whatever, that was Anakin's whole deal.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason he went to the dark side,
yeah.
and then his grandson just does it. Like, okay, like I think that's a more of a problem for me
Well,
than like Force FaceTiming and being able to transfer matter.
Yeah, the fact that she was like completely, like she was dead,
Right.
and he brought her back.
Yeah.
I don't
maybe
know if they
she's
should have
just sleeping.
necessarily done that because, like,
She's only mostly dead.
Yeah.
because to me,
Just
like
the
the
flesh
Jedi
wound.
it's about acceptance. Like people die, they move on. Where the dark side was like, no, we're gonna live forever, and so the Jedi really shouldn't have that power to. bring
Right. I mean,
back
that was the whole
like
deal about Darth Plagueis, right? He learned
Yeah.
how to create life.
Hmm.
So maybe she was like about to die, and he just gave her the rest of his life force. Might have
Yeah.
worked a little bit
Because
better.
the Jedi healing part of it is not it's about giving something of yourself, sacrificing yourself to save someone else. The dark side is about creating new life to basically empower yourself type thing.
Right.
So this healing stuff is not the magic of I could touch you and you're healed. It's a miracle. It's part of me is dead because I've touched you.
It's equivalent exchange.
But it was a
Gotcha.
little inconsistent because when Palpatine, does the Death Eater thing on them, they, take a 5 second break and then they're still alive. It's like,
They're
well,
back.
why didn't you just take all of their life force? I mean,
Right.
and they
Mhm.
have enough life force left to still fight you. I mean, that's just.
It's a movie.
It's just and again, it's just kind of goes back to the everything's rushed and we have to hurry and
Well, he liked the look of himself at that age. He's
yes,
just like, oh, this is good.
You love those eyes. It's like I love.
I
my
never
sick
liked my
eyes.
20s. We'll stop right here. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Another
Totally
thing
different.
to talk about Force powers was when we first see Rey, I heard someone talk about how she's, floating, 10, 12 feet off the ground.
yeah.
I mean, she's literally flying, and it's only ever been apparently, which this is not coming from me, this is coming from someone else I heard say this. So, like, I haven't gone back and watched the films to, like, verify this, but apparently they said that's only been hinted at that a Jedi could do that could actually levitate themselves. And they said that this is a feat because, and it makes huge implications because if you can literally fly, like you could, I mean, imagine what all you could do. Like you wouldn't need the high ground anymore. Like, what? But I took it. I was like, well, she's just meditating. She's like in her center or whatever. Maybe she can't start from there. She can't be 12 feet off the ground and then just soar like Superman.
What-
You know.
When they first showed that, I was like, oh, Nickelodeon's Avatar. Got the boulders flying around her. There should be some water, some fire.
Yeah. Leia taught her how to fly, I guess, because Leia knows how to fly, I guess, in space.
She does.
Weird.
Mhm.
Speaking of Leia, her lightsaber is cool.
That was a cool lightsaber.
So they basically introduced 3 new lightsabers in this movie: the reforged Anakin saber.
I like that one. I want it.
Yeah, well, they have it now. You can buy it at Galaxy's Edge.
I'm very well aware.
The Leia saber, which I thought was
Mhm.
just cool looking. And then Ray's new saber, which is
That's my favorite.
which I've already started
Yes.
building.
Oh,
Spoiler alert.
Oh.
wow.
I saw the movie. I was like, that's part of Ray's staff. I was like, that's cool. I just saw Ray's staff at Five Below for $5.
Nice.
I went on a journey and found it.
Which
Maybe
they're no longer Five Below. I mean, it's Five Below, but they go up to 10.
Oh really?
Oh.
Yeah,
Huh.
they
Mine
did
are
at
still like
ours.
555, I think, is the highest one of ours. Anyways,
Yeah.
so I got a couple of them, and I'm going to cut the parts apart and make Savi lightsaber parts with my yellow kyber crystal that I have, and I'm gonna have me a Ray's lightsaber
Sweet.
Nice.
Well
because
done, sir.
because those builder it's the Force Builder or whatever the series is of the toys, they're chunkier. So there's enough chunk there that I can use it on these big Savis. Like they made like a skinny Ray's lightsaber that wouldn't work,
Mhm.
but this one's bigger. So I'm gonna start cutting them apart after Christmas and try to make ones. I won't have the cool off and on switch like she has. I'll have to keep the Savi switch
Oh,
because there's no way to do that with the Savis. So this will be like an interpretation of Ray's saber with the Savi parts. The Ray switch is a cool. It's like a circular.
Yeah.
Oh
it
yeah.
spins.
Oh
Mhm.
no, I know. It's the coolest thing. I mean, you could get that 3D printed and add it to your Savi saber, paint it, make it look
It'll
like
look like it, but I won't be able to turn it on and off with it. You get what I'm saying?
maybe.
Yeah, because it's at
Because-
the top near the emitter
it's at
too.
the
I
top.
wanna.
The Savis
mean-
is
Sure. Why not? I mean, you can make a switch that'll do that. But yeah, that'd be cool.
a simple one.
I
On a 3D printer.
I was
it's
gonna say,
cool.
I mean, Katrin, if you want to build us one, I mean,
Yeah.
heck, man.
mean, surely you can like wire the switch so that when you flick the knob, like you could surely find something.
Surely you could wire something, flick it, and
Yeah.
electrocute yourself.
My plan
Oh,
is this is off the subject. Sorry if you're listening, you don't care. My plan is to wrap the middle section in leather, but have it where I can still turn it on and off, and then do her staff parts on the top and the bottom.
Right.
So you won't be able to like see the switch, but you'll still be able to, turn it on and off.
I'm gonna have me one of those Savi sabers fairly soon.
I'm so excited to see what you make. Like I'm so excited.
I already know, man. I've been studying the pieces. I'm ready.
I don't want to know. Don't tell me. Like I want to be surprised. I want to see your face. I so wish I could be in there with you to experience it with you. Like just be sitting in the background, just staring at you build your lightsaber. I know that's weird, but it's a
See,
cool experience.
Asia,
No, it's not
wait a
weird.
minute. My niece is going with me as my guest, and you could go with Ryan if you wanted to. Oh,
Cool.
well, your flight doesn't get there.
No, I get there at 10:30. My flight gets there.
Oh, you might be able to do it then.
I'll rush over and make it.
Yeah.
I'm debating on bringing mine, but then I'm like, I don't want to deal with the hassle on the airplane. I probably just won't bring
Hassle.
mine. Well, it's Spirit Airline. They
gotta pay extra for
charge it.
lightsabers.
I'll do for. They didn't charge me extra on the way back, but I think if I'm taking a lightsaber there, they'd be like, "Oh, well, that's
$15.
$50." I could just bring the hilt and not bring the blade.
I want the Ray looking canvas bag for my blade.
It's cool. It's a little expensive, but it's cool.
How
It's
much?
like-
How much?
I think it's like $50 at least.
Yeah, I figured. Oh well.
Maybe more than that. I'd have to look back. I didn't buy one.
Go big or go home, right? Just give Bob my money.
I want to build another one if I bought it. I'm wondering if they're going to come out with new parts and new versions like in a year or two.
Probably.
Probably.
I mean, if they had like a scavenger version where it was
Yeah.
like rusty black like that, oh man, that would be mine.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So Maybe when I go back in October, they'll have a new version. But they did come out with the reforged one that you could buy there, and randomly Ben Solo's lightsaber.
Right?
Did we ever see that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes, you do.
when did we
He-
see it?
Ben goes to grab it when his uncle goes to slaughter him.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Okay,
So
that's
it's
right.
gonna be there. But
And
supposedly,
it's actually the same saber.
yeah,
But it's before he cracked his kyber crystal.
yeah. But supposedly they will never sell the Rey one or the Princess Leia one because it's not in canon with the time period of Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, whatever.
cares?
We'll see.
Do people care?
They'll start selling them. They'll want the money. Give it a few years.
Yeah, they'll change it.
What'd you guys think of Wedge Antilles
Hey, it
showing up?
was too fast though. It was so
Yeah.
John Williams is in there too. He's like a bartender. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
who that
awesome.
was.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, he looked familiar. Who was
What?
that? Okay.
Sorry, missed it.
John Williams. He made a
Oh.
cameo.
Yeah. I wanted Hera. I wanted them to show Hera and the ghost.
I know. I was looking for that. And like during like the end scene where everybody's like hugging and everything, I was kind of looking in the background to see if they like did
Because
like
the ghost was
the-
there.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't you show Hera? Come on.
Hmm. It would have been cool.
Would have been really cool. They didn't. All right. Well, I gave you a little homework to do.
Oh yeah, we got to do that still.
If that's okay. I asked the guys to rate the Skywalker Saga episodes 1 through 9 from. Do you guys want to start from worst to best or best to worst?
I'm just gonna go. Oh, I see what you're saying.
I mean, you know what my worst one's gonna be, so I can go best to worst.
Best to worst. Number 1 to number 9. And then for bonus points, is your graded? I don't know. You could throw in Rogue One and Solo in there if you want to. You don't have to. But who would like to start us off?
Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that y'all are not gonna like mine. So I don't know if that means I should go last or first.
No, go ahead, go first. Let's get it. Let's just pull that Band-Aid.
Oh God, I'm gonna regret this later.
I won't edit this out.
My least favorite in writing this list just off the cuff, just without any thinking, just kind of just going at it. Phantom Menace.
Oh, you're dead to me. No, I'm just kidding.
Because it's boring. It is kind of my first Star Wars movie. Like I saw the other ones when they were re-released, but that was like, I was young and that was my first Star Wars movie, and it got me into it. I was like, cool. But now that I watch it, it's like a war film or something. Like there's just lots of talking. And that one lightsaber duel does not save it for me. Like, and neither does Darth Maul. I know people love him, but I'm just like, it don't save it. If anything, I think that Qui-Gon Jinn is a better character than Darth Maul. Like I like it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like him. Yeah, I like him more than I like Darth Maul. Then The Last Jedi. Sorry, buddy. Ryan's showing me his figure of Darth Maul. Then it's The Last Jedi. Did I really put Rise of Skywalker?
Whoa.
You just made it.
Man, I guess this came from my heart. So like Rise of Skywalker, Return of the Jedi. Hang on, it gets better. Attack of the Clones, and I kind of wrote descriptions as to why. I said I was 12. I was in awe. We got a hover car chase followed by an arguably better cantina scene. Sorry, don't hate me.
Ray is just shaking his head.
The Empire Strikes Back because it basically is the perfect film everyone says it is. There's a reason why it's not my first. Second would be The Force Awakens because I believe it is the movie George wishes he could have made in 1971. Right? 71. Was I right? Was it 71?
77.
7. I mean, maybe he wanted to make that movie in 70. The New
71.
Hope was 77.
I should know that because that's a very significant year for my family. And number one is A New Hope because it's the first, and you wouldn't have all the others without it. So to me, it earns first place.
There you go. That's not
Yeah,
bad.
and so 1 and 2 are basically the same movie in my opinion because it's Force Awakens is the movie that I know George wishes he could have made. That's why he's so bitter. Like it's a better. Well, I wouldn't say it's a better version. Um, the story of Luke, obviously, the hero's journey. It's much better with Luke. Much better executed. But yeah, A New Hope is number one, and then out of Rogue One and Solo. I think Solo's a better movie if it wasn't a Han Solo movie. If it was just like a Western, it's a great, well-written film if you take it out of the Star Wars universe.
Okay.
I don't know. I never understood why you would make a a movie about a young Han Solo when we know what young Han Solo looked like, and it wasn't Alden Ehrenreich. It's just I love the guy. I think he was brilliant. I think he's a great actor. But you put that movie in the American West, you've got another Pirates of the Caribbean. Had a great. I mean, the train heist, the whole switcheroo at the end. If you replace the fuel with gold, like I'm actually giving away one of my ideas, but it's great. I enjoyed it. Just not as a Star Wars movie.
Yeah. Rogue One. Any thoughts?
Um, yeah, I mean it's good. I mean it's it's good. I mean I didn't just this is a family friendly podcast, man. I can't say the things I want. I didn't get as excited over it as other people did. Like I was just like, yeah, it's a good movie. Like um obviously the scene with Vader that everyone loves at the end is fabulous. I think it's great. Um, yeah, very well executed.
There we go. All right, I'll
There
take
you
that.
go.
Next.
I'll go.
Oh, thank you, Chris.
Because you won't like mine either, probably.
Is it include Nightmare Before Christmas or?
Yeah. And Batman, the animated movie, Mask of the Phantasm.
Is Weird Al in there
there.
somewhere?
Weird Al's
Weird
in there.
Al.
Yeah.
UHF.
So I guess we're going
That's
from
a callback from another episode.
Right.
Sorry.
I guess we're going from last place to first.
Sure, why not?
Yes, that's what we're doing.
Okay, well, last is Last Jedi.
It is. It should be.
Moving on, going up the list from there would be Revenge of the Sith.
Oh.
I forgot Revenge of the Sith.
Oh.
There's 9 movies. Come on, Tyler.
Because I kind of like, I don't even remember that much about that movie. Like,
It's
just
in between
didn't really
Empire
stick
Strikes
with
Back
me.
and Attack of the Clones for me. Just throwing that in there.
If I'm throwing in Solo, this is probably where he would go. Movie Solo. And then moving up, Phantom Menace. Which, like, Darth Maul, like, I'm just a fan of Darth Maul. And
Everybody is, man.
it's just, it does have some nostalgia because I was working in a movie theater when it came out. But Attack of the Clones is above that. I kind of like that one a little bit better.
There you go.
Because that was kind of like the Empire Strikes Back of it, kind of feel. Above that, this is probably where Rise of the Skywalker will go. It's about the middle of the list.
We're kind of similar, man.
A little bit, because Force Awakens is next above that. Yeah, I liked it. That's where we're different. I liked it, but yeah, it did it kind of rode on the coattails of like the movies before it, which is why that one's good. Return of the Jedi is next. It's above that. Then New Hope, which is good. This is where I would put Rogue One.
Okay.
I liked Rogue One a lot.
Yeah.
It had the feel of Star Wars, but it was different. I liked the characters a lot. Had some good feels to it. And then number one would be Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
Because that's just that move. Like I don't. It's just got a lot of fun to it. It's got a lot of good storytelling to it. So it was good. But like above everything though, would be Mandalorian.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
Bum, bum.
Well, I'm kind of right there with you. Yeah.
I like Star Wars and everything, but Mandalorian just has some really good storytelling to it.
Yeah, that's true.
Dude, I'm trying to find a way to where I can buy the expensive collectible helmet. I'm never going to be able to do it, but like
Really?
that's how much I love that show.
I want to. You know how much I love the show? I want to join the Mandalorian Mercs, the 501st version of the Mandalorians. I want to build the Mandalorian full costume and join them and do charity work and all that stuff.
That's pretty awesome.
I would love to. It probably won't happen, but it's a lot of money to build a full. You have to build like exact replica, pretty much, to be a part of them. Anyways, so I got to find the helmet is where I'd start. So I got to figure out about the helmet.
So that's my list. That's the movies got going from the top. It's like Empire Strikes Back, Rogue One, New Hope, Return of the Jedi.
So,
Force
Yeah,
I-
Awakens.
I told the boys the only reason that the Empire Strikes Back, even though I know it's pretty much probably everybody's top favorite Star Wars movie. It's just like, yeah, it is great. Like it's probably the quintessential Star Wars film. If you're going to show anybody a Star Wars movie, you should probably pick that one.
Or Mandalorian.
Or Mandalorian. Although I have said, and I know it's taboo, I feel like some people, if they're not into Star Wars, if they're that person, I suggest The Force Awakens. I know it's horrible, but it's what it does is it does this kind of storytelling that I love. It sets up mythology, this mystery, this intrigue of like what, like the stories of Luke are this mythology from the past, and you want to know about it. You're like, wait, what? Who is this Luke Skywalker? Who is this Han Solo guy? And it's like, oh, well, you actually can watch those stories. And then they're like, oh, and then they go and they have an admiration for it. So, yeah, I mean, I just think that even though Empire Strikes Back is great, A New Hope, just because it's the first one, it deserves top.
That's fine. And if going like really deep diving, I would throw in Genndy Tartakovsky's Clone Wars, like way up there on the list too.
I didn't ask for that.
You didn't ask for that.
We didn't ask for
I'm
that.
Teacher's
just
pet. You're trying to be a teacher's
I'm just
pet
giving
here?
it. I'm just giving it to you for free. Just take it. All right.
Anyways.
Next.
Next.
I'll go.
Okay. Yay.
Yay! All right. So my at the bottom of mine, I could flip flop between Phantom Menace and The Last Jedi. I have on my list. I have The Last Jedi as last, but I think those are interchangeable. Next, I have Clones, The Rise of Skywalker, Revenge of the Sith, The Force Awakens, and then I would throw in Solo here, Empire, New Hope, Rogue One, and Return of the Jedi. Rogue One it's very close to being one of my favorites, but it's still I still love the classics, but Rogue One is just so great because it felt like a Star Wars movie, but they didn't try to force it in or copy different things. They just made it fit in, especially how it just bleeds right into the next movie. It was so cool, and just to sit there and watch them back to back, it's like, oh my gosh, this is the way it should be done, and but yeah, those are mine.
Cool. Ray.
Okay.
He's like sitting back biting his tongue.
Well, some of these are again, they're kind of like what Katrin has said. You could flip flop some of these, but I would say, my bottom one would be Phantom Menace. I kind of feel like you can start Star Wars at episode 2 and be perfectly fine. And then after that one, I would put the Last Jedi, because we all hate it so. And then Attack of the Clones, then Rise of the Skywalker. then Revenge of the Sith, and that's probably the thing with Solo. And I think Tyler mentioned this too. As a film, if it wasn't a Star Wars film, there's nothing wrong with it. It's cool. It's an unnecessary Star Wars film. It doesn't tell you anything that you wanted to know. If anything, it ruins the Kessel Run. It ruins how he meets Chewbacca. It's just all very ham-fisted. So, so what did I say? I said Revenge of the Sith, then Rise of the Skywalker, then Force Awakens, then the classics, Jedi, Return of the Jedi, A New Hope, and number 1 is Empire. And I would put Rogue One right behind Return of the Jedi.
Cool.
Just because with the classics, you grow up on them, it's hard to break.
Yeah.
Where does the holiday special fit in?
Holidays.
Number one. I mean,
If you haven't seen the holiday special, it is painful to watch.
it is so long too.
Yeah.
It is
It's
so long.
It's 2 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a variety show. It is the worst thing you
But
have
it does
ever-
have B. Arthur, so
Singing.
singing.
Favreau, I am convinced, because he's like a self-professed fan of the holiday special. He wants to
make it.
he wants to rectify it though. He wants to make it better. Like he wants to actually do a Star Wars holiday special. I think he's determined
to make a good one.
Yeah, to make a Life Day special.
If you took it and did like a robot chicken with it, I think it'd be great.
All right. Does anybody want to hear mine? Or are you guys good?
Tell us, Ryan.
Yes, we want to hear.
Go, yeah, it's fine. Go ahead.
Please share.
So my top 8. Because one of them shall not be named. No. Last Shot is the bottom of the list. I mean, so much the bottom of the list. It's like, is that a movie down there, or is that what is that? Is it trash? I don't know.
the Heesh dubs of that though.
Yeah.
That might put it in the middle for me. That was so fun to watch.
You still have the poster on your wall. I can't. I
haven't got a replacement
past it every day. It's just.
I really love that poster art. I love the poster art, but I hate the movie.
I'm just picturing you walking by it every day.
That's why it's behind me, so I don't see it. I do want to get one that Brian from Always Believe did. I want to get to replace that one. I need to ask him, which one he recommends. Anyways, he was been on another episode. Always Believe. Check them out on YouTube. They're really cool people. So Last Jedi is last. It's to me, it's not even a Star Wars movie. To me, you don't even have to watch it. To watch the Rise of Skywalker, you don't even need the Last Jedi. You don't even need to worry about it. When I show my kids the Star Wars saga or the Skywalker saga, I'm not even going to show them that. And you know what? They're not even going to ask any questions like, why did that happen?
They're going to say, Dad, episode 9, did we miss one? No.
That's how numbers work.
Oh,
I thought
Windows
went
from 7 to 10.
This is what I'm going to tell them. I'm going to be like, Disney made a very brave choice to make Star Wars Episode 7 and then immediately make Star Wars Episode 9. It was a brave choice that they made, and I think it worked. Anyways, number 8, Phantom Menace, because, like you said, it's got a really cool, villain, Darth Maul. I really love the trio lightsaber battle, but that's about it. That's about it. Number 7, Attack of the Clones. Again, it's there. Number 6, Revenge of the Sith. Again, really love the Mustafar lightsaber battle scene. Could care less for dying of a broken heart. No. So it has its moments, but number 5 in the middle of the pack, Rise of Skywalker. Again, I liked it. I thought it was a Star Wars movie. Is it my favorite? No, but I enjoyed it. I came out with a smile. And that's all these days you can really ask for.
Amen.
Yeah. Solo would probably go there for me. Number 4 would be Force Awakens. Number 3, Empire Strikes Back. I know.
I
I
knew
didn't
this was gonna
expect
happen.
that.
I knew this was gonna happen. And Ray's out.
Again, it'll make sense when I explain the rest. Again, don't have any problems with it. I love it. But again, that's just it's where we're going to fit in. I'm sorry. Rogue One, I don't really know. It's either going to be before or after Empire. Depends on the day.
Yeah, I kind of just ranked those anthology films on their own.
Yeah.
I didn't put them in the thing.
Yeah. So number 3, Empire Strikes Back. Number 2, New Hope. And number 1, Return of the Jedi. And here's why. Return of the Jedi was the first Star Wars movie that I remember seeing. It's what got me in love with Star Wars. It's the first one that I remember seeing in the theater. I just love the whole Jabba's palace. I love, that whole scene. I love the Ewoks. I love Endor.
Ray tensed.
I love the speeder bike scene. It's amazing.
I mean, that's your Star Wars. It's kind of
that's my-
like me with Attack of the Clones. Like, it's not the first one I remember seeing, but at the same time, I don't know. I was young. I had that feeling, and it's just, I don't know. It's Star Wars to me. So,
Yeah. And again, New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi are in my top 3, and I would watch them back to back. So almost they could all be my number 1, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Because like when I watched New Hope the other night, I immediately turned on Empire Strikes Back because I wanted to. Because it just those 3 go
Makes
so
sense.
great together.
mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Episode 1, 2, and 3, you can't really say the same thing. Episode 6, 7, 9, you definitely can't say the same thing. But episodes 4, 5, and 6 go perfect together and are the perfect movie to sit down and watch back to back to back.
Episode 7 and 9 go great together.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like
Of the trilogies.
of the trilogies as a whole, those
Yeah.
3 go perfectly together.
Well, it's always been deemed as such, as an almost perfect trilogy.
So that's
So- My Disney Plus knows me so well. Every time an episode of The Mandalorian is over, it says coming up next, Empire Strikes Back, and I'm like, no, Disney Plus.
I
I
know-
don't have 2 hours. I have other things I must do.
That's what it does to me
That
too.
for everybody.
One of the things I wanted to say earlier about that fight scene, and I totally forgot the one that everybody praises, the triple whatever lightsaber fight scene in Phantom Menace that everybody loves. I mean, it's great. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's fabulous. But I always thought it was funny that Obi-Wan literally didn't have the high ground.
He didn't. He had the low ground and he won.
Right.
Yeah,
He was
but
down. I mean,
he's hoping you freaking won.
I guess. Don't do it, Anakin. I have the high ground. I mean, I defeated somebody when I didn't have the high ground, but you're not going to be able to do it because
Well, in
know.
space, I mean, there's high and low is just.
And that's
kinda-
why Palpatine made Darth Vader taller so that he would
Yes,
always have
yes.
the high ground.
Gotcha.
What was the logic there, though? He's full of hate and anger. You're going to reason with him on ground height? Oh, Master Obi-Wan, you're correct.
Let's
go have a beer.
There.
You got me.
He
Next
just
time.
keeps riding on the thing. He don't get off. He's like, all right, you know what? We're good.
Master, you've had the high ground for 3 hours.
Comes
All
back
right.
with platform shoes.
So we're approaching, just about
4 hour?
2 hours. No, just about.
The length
We're
of
at
the
hour
saga.
23.
Yeah, so here's a question I will give you to answer to wrap this up. Did the rise of Skywalker feel like, I mean, all the negative aside, like stuff you didn't like, did it feel like a Star Wars movie?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Sure.
Given that it rehashed many things that we've seen in Star Wars several times, it felt exactly
It
like a
followed
Star
the
Wars
formula.
movie.
Yeah.
I thought it rehashed a lot of in-game, personally.
Oh wait, well yes, there was comparisons there too.
Mhm.
I'm all the Sith. I'm Tony Stark, or I'm Iron Man.
I am inevitable.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I will say this as my closing thought. And if you follow me on Twitter, and I know you guys do, y'all already saw this. My father is a self-professed non-fan of Star Wars. Like ever since '77, he has not. He's just not a fan. It's not his thing. It's not in his wheelhouse. He loves movies, like loves Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, like all the movies we love. But he's never been a Star Wars fan. He always says the same thing ever since I was a kid. I don't understand. They're in this futuristic world, but it always ends with two guys fighting with a sword. Like he's just not a fan. And I was like, you know what? If I can't have that conversation with you. You don't get it.
It's a
But
laser sword.
right, I took him. I took him to see The Force Awakens because I thought, hey, this is the start of a new trilogy. This is a monumental cinematic moment. You need to go. So he went. He enjoyed it. He didn't go out of his way to say that he did. But I took him with my nephew. I dragged him to the IMAX to watch The Rise of Skywalker with us. And I sat there the whole time. I was like, oh, God, I just know he's sitting there waiting for this to be over. Like, I know he can't stand it. And he walked out and he said, you know what? That was actually a really good movie. I enjoyed that. And I was blown away. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't care what I think at all. Like, if you liked this movie, it has to be good. Like, so with all of its flaws and everything, it maybe not converted someone who wasn't a Star Wars fan, but it made him maybe a believer. So, but it didn't
Oh,
end
cool.
with two dudes with a sword, so maybe that's why I liked it.
Maybe
It's
so.
like a girl and two swords and a guy with like
Lightning.
lightning hands.
It actually ended with a girl with 3 swords burying 2 swords,
Yes.
keeping 1 sword.
There you go.
Hey, you. What's your name? Ray. Ray what? Ray Skywalker.
Okay. I love it.
Really? That's the
Ray.
best you could have staged that?
Wait for it. Skywalker.
Is it okay,
Boom.
Force Ghost? They're giving me the nod. I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah. And then Leia's like, okay.
No, you're back to your dad. You're talking about your dad. Like I said, I was talking to Chris. I was talking to our dad. I don't know if you know this.
We
And
have a dad?
Yeah. No, I mean, this story.
Oh, okay.
And I was talking about seeing it,
Plot twist.
and
It's
he
Palpatine.
said, and I said, I asked him, I was like, I can't remember if Return of the Jedi was the first one I saw in the theater. It probably was, and he was thinking like maybe it was. And then he goes, I remember seeing the first Star Wars. And I'm like, oh, well, tell me about it. So he told me the story of him seeing New Hope. It wasn't called New Hope back then. It was just called Star Wars. He said I worked for Eureka. He worked for Eureka, the vacuum cleaning company, for those that don't know what Eureka was. And he goes, I was, traveling as a salesman. I was in Kentucky, in this little town in Kentucky. I checked into a motel, and he's like, it was one of those, like, I didn't make a reservation before I got there, so there wasn't anything available. So I made a reservation, or I checked into this motel that had, one of those beds that you put coins in and stuff. He goes, because you had to put coins in the little black and white TV just to watch TV. And he's like, I didn't want to do that. And he goes, I saw a little, I passed a little movie theater, just a little hole in the wall movie theater on the way into this little small town. He's like, well, I'll go see a movie. And he said, so I went to the movie theater and they were playing this sci-fi movie called Star Wars. And I was like, I don't know, I'll check it out. So he went in and he goes, and I saw Star Wars, and he goes, I was just amazed by it. It was just so amazing that this is, something that, like I'd never seen, and, sort of fell in love with it. And so that was really cool hearing
That's cool.
his
Yeah,
story,
that's awesome.
because this was like, for us, for most of us, Star Wars has just always been
Mm-hmm.
there. And this is a guy that was working out of town away from, his wife, just sort of stumbles into this movie theater and just happens upon this new movie called The Star Wars. Yeah. That's a cool story. I was like, well, that's pretty
That's a cool
cool.
story.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's a good place to wrap this up, unless you guys got anything else. Oh, they're like,
No,
we want to
good.
go to bed. I do too. You guys got to send me all your recordings. Anyways, so listener, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for coming on, Tyler and Ray.
All
Love
right,
it.
man.
You're welcome on anytime. Just next time, agree with me more. No, I'm just kidding.
We like the movie. We just
I know. Just joking.
Next time, talk about something that Tyler and I like.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
Let's see. What?
for me it would be Pirates of the Caribbean.
I'm there with you.
Yeah, I love Pirates of the Caribbean.
There we go.
And my Last Jedi is Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Really?
Yeah. Captain Jack
don't
Sparrow
have time now.
was Doc Holliday, and they turned him into Kevin Hart.
Yeah. Mine was the last pirate film. It was just a mess.
Oh, that's for another episode. I guess we'll have you guys back on and we'll do the whole Pirates of the Caribbean series. That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
there you go.
And then Tyler, we'll have you on and we'll go a deep dive into 51st Dates.
Love 51st Dates. It's a sweet movie, man.
It is.
A deep dive into it.
On date 39.
We gotta get Hank on for that one because he knows
We'll
more
have to-
people that was in it.
We can
That
all
was-
eat waffles. while
That was a
we
callback
talk
to our Desert Island movie episode. Go back and listen to that for all our new listeners. Anyways, thank you guys for coming on. Thank everybody for listening. This has been episode 129 of I Am Geek, and we're going on Christmas break. This will come out probably around Christmas, and we'll be back in January with all new episodes. Sometime we'll be back in January.
Yeah, sure. why not?
Sometime in January. is what I
Oh,
said.
okay. We'll be back in January with all new episodes of I Am Geek. Thank you guys for listening, and have a Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Christmas.
See you in 2020.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.